your trade successfully materializing, obeying a trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. Apologize for the delayed start. Um, Still kind of sort of working through some technical issues, but we will we'll get things moving. First, what I want to do is, Donette, if you're available, give us an update on the accountability group. We haven't chatted publicly about it in a while. Um, so if you could hop on and give us an update on what you guys are working on, progress that the team has made, um, and any shout outs that you might have.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning.
So we have still had our accountability sessions every weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so far, we have been continuing to check off what we're holding ourselves accountable for, but more importantly, we've made the group our own where we're learning and supporting each other. So we have been reading along with Jeremy. He's been leading most of our sessions. Gosh, what's the name of the book? It is, I will tell you in 2 seconds. A three-dimensional approach to, hold on. Anna Cooling has a book called Three-Dimensional Approach. So we've been reading that book, and it's provided us a lot of insight on the fundamentals of the market.
Okay.
So some of the recording has been there, that we've done. So every day we take a little section of the book and we read together, bringing our own insights from what we're reading. So the book is called Three-Dimensional Approach to Forex Trading. So, and we've been learning a lot about, if Jeremy is on, he could share a lot more about the book, but we've been really honing in on other things to help us really understand the markets that we're trading in. So that's been really fun just to see, how other people have been really growing, what they've been learning. So it's shared learning, I would say, um, because we started out reading, I think the first reading we did was the Candlestick Bible, and then that transformed into, there was another book. But we just keep, enhancing our knowledge and growing. The other book was where we learned about Elliot's Wave.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been going really good. We had set, it's April. Next month will be almost a year. Will be a year.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
started the accountability group. So we have stated a date of May 15th to be able to see some financial results. So a lot of people like Beneath, I know he has finished his challenge. He's got a couple challenges from the Darwin completed. I think two he's done. Tyrone
That's
has
beneath.
one. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm coming up. I haven't done the 75% yet, but I'm at $179,000 in my Darwin. Um,
Beautiful.
but
Kudos. I
yes,
love it.
we've been growing and learning. It's exciting to see everybody. So yeah, we're forming more communities. Michelle and I meet daily every day. Except for Mondays. Um, so just helping each other and growing alongside each other and supporting each other. So
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Drop some sevens in the chat for the accountability group and the progress that they've made
if
on,
any of the other guys are around, if they wanted to say something, sure.
yeah, we got Benit, if you're able to hop in and give some thoughts. I don't know if he's
Don't be
able to
shy.
unmute or not.
She said everything that needed to be said, so thank you. Thank you,
Awesome.
Danny.
Awesome. 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 Kudos to you guys. I don't know if Michelle's on. Doesn't look like it. Um, but kudos to you guys, man. So the book that you guys are reading now is what's driving the fundamental conversations regarding each
Yeah,
country.
yeah, and that's understanding, like yesterday we covered CPI, housing, GDP, um, so just understanding, how those fundamentals are really um how to un I think for me it's breaking it down. Like we watch the news, or we read the news, we read like you'll read, Forex Factory, but the book actually dives more deeper into understanding how we really, how those things work, giving you more, the different countries, um, and how their economies work, what products that they export or import. So things like that, you're kind of getting not just trading the pairs, but you're understanding what's
Yeah.
behind those countries and their economies really and fully. So
Yeah. And this is taking you guys into even some of the exotic currencies too, right? Turkish
yes.
lira and
Hmm.
some of those others that we don't talk about very much.
Yes.
That's awesome. It's awesome.
So kudos to Jeremy. Jeremy is a word as a knowledge bank, okay? Sometimes I'm like, how does he do this stuff? Like he has a lot of knowledge, he's really a tester. Like he'll dive into things and you never know that he's dive into it until um you hear him talk or you hear him bring up something. And I'm like, even on Smart Trader, I learned so much on tools in Smart Trader to help us gain confluence. I'm like, how did you study all of this stuff? But he has really embraced learning and taken in trading as a student, a university student. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Super excited for you guys and the growth that you guys are making. Continue doing it. Anybody that hasn't tapped into the accountability group, I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest you do so. They meet 6 p.m. During the weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Um, Definitely tap in and check and take part in the conversation and take part of the learnings that are coming from the group. And even if you're not able to, there's recordings in the community, right? There's recordings in the community. So um, I'll share my screen real quick so you guys understand where this is. And for those that are watching can get an understanding of how in depth this group is and the things that are going on here. So if you dive into the community and you go to meetups, you can take a look at all the recordings here, right? And you can go back and listen to the conversations that are being had. Um, or when they're meeting, right? You can just tap into the live meeting and it'll tell you how many folks are on. You can tap into the conversation, even if it's just to listen and start to build your knowledge, right? It's a totally open group to everybody in the Forex trade room, all of our members. Um, and this opportunity to network with other team members, right? And start to build some of those relationships that will continue to help enhance your learning. All right. So definitely take part in the things that are happening inside of the community. Right. And just
Well,
tap in. You don't have to ask for permission. Tap in and take advantage. What are you about to
I
say?
wanted I wanted to say to Beneath and thank him for his because Beneath has been the one consistent, like his accountability items are the same from the time we started to today. And it shows like his progress over the time. So it keeps us all like grounded. It keeps us, we know of each other's strengths. And I just want to say thank you for them, to them, and to him because sometimes I'm like, man, I don't have the consistency, but that dude, he is diligent at that those same things that he hold himself accountable. So it's really like Ryan was saying, learning and just being able to share what you're really good at or what you really want to become good at and just grounding yourself, just seeing people who are doing the same thing over and over. It helps you to become better, because
Yeah,
you see, you can go back and trace back their success to what they're doing. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
thank
I
you,
love it.
Benny.
I love it. Thank you, Nate. Teamwork makes the dream work. Benny says it all the time. And it's true, right? Tapping into the team and building those relationships. It's absolutely awesome. Um, I love it, man. I love it. Benny, were you gonna say something, bro?
No, man, just listening in. Kudos to the team. That's exactly the reason why we created this group. Just a collective mindset, one big think tank. Of people discovering what it truly is to be a trader, to be an investor. So that's the more knowledge, the more knowledge, the better, right? I love how everybody's diving in and going deeper because there are levels to the game, right? There's layers,
Mm-hmm.
right, to this, and to be able to hang in and really gain, true understanding, going beyond the technicals, right, going beyond those footprints that the fundamentals leave is huge. It's huge. So again, kudos to everybody, right? Sevens all around, and then the key word to keep hearing is that consistency, right? Sticking to it, staying in the game, right? We always say the only way you fail is if you quit, you
That's
know,
it.
but coming and taking a consistent approach. That way you can work your way to consistent profitability. So that's it, man. This is great. Great to hear.
Love it. All right, good people. So let's dive into some of the technicals for today. All right. Federal Reserve is projected to keep the rate steady. We'll see what that conversation is like today. We got that rate statement coming in and the press conference afterwards will be um, high attention paid to high attention paid to the words that are chosen and any projections that are given from Jerome Powell this morning. Okay. So or this afternoon, sorry. We'll watch that. From yesterday, though, Bank of Japan. You're welcome, Donette. You're welcome. Absolutely. The Bank of Japan, they kept their rate steady as expected, right? Um, some interesting things from the conversation, but I'll read the blurb and then we'll talk deeper. But the Bank of Japan kept the key rates around 5%, 0.5% during its March meeting, maintaining its highest level since 2008. And in line with the market expectation, the unanimous decision allowed the central bank's third rate hike in January to come before the U.S. Federal Reserve's rate announcement. Um, the board took a cautious stance, focusing on assessing the impact of raising global risks on Japan's fragile recovery. The Bank of Japan pointed to ongoing uncertainties in the domestic economic outlook amid higher U.S. tariffs and headwinds from overseas conditions. All right. So the tariffs were a major piece to the conversation. All right. While the Japanese economy had recovered moderately, some weaknesses remained. Private consumption continued to grow, helped by wage hikes, um, even as cost pressures persisted. However, exports and industrial output were mostly flat. Right. Inflation ranged around 3% and 3.5% yearly, driven by higher prices. Inflation expectations increased moderately with underlying CPI projections that rose gradually. So a couple additional notes. This decision, like it really reflects more of a cautious approach to their stance and their concerns about, and these are just some of the phrases that were used in the press conference, but concerns about U.S. trade policies under Donald Trump. Governor Ueda, he highlighted uncertainties due to the tariffs, which could impact Japan's export driven economy, right? And he stressed the importance of closely monitoring the developments before proceeding with further rate hikes. From a domestic perspective, wage growth was also part of their conversation. And with the spring wage negotiations coming to a close, the average increase is seen to be around 5.46%, which is surpassing last year's increase. So Ueda noted that this was a positive sign for domestic consumption and inflation. On the inflation front, the underlying inflation approached their target of 2%. And Ueda acknowledged that food costs are influencing consumption patterns. And expectations. So I mentioned it yesterday with saying that food costs could come into the conversation from an inflation perspective. So that's something that they do have on their radar. And then, Governor Ueda, he said that they're going to continue to assess the direct and indirect effects of the U.S. trade policies on Japan. In their upcoming forecast in April, right? So they'll give their thoughts then as these tariffs really get implemented to see what initial changes it causes. But he also indicated that any further hikes would be contingent upon economic data and the evolving global trade environment. Okay. So it was a cautious stance, but he did not say anything about no longer increasing rates. They're going to continue to increase rates. You have a lot of market participants that we have some market participants that think they're going to increase rates as early as May. Then you have and there's a few in that camp. You have a few others that are looking at June, and you still have a majority that's looking at third quarter. So some different conversations out there, but really looking at the full trajectory of the inflation rate and looking at consumption and consumer spending, that's going to be key to these decisions. Just like last year, where it took them a while to really see the impact of the wage increases, right? It took them 3 or 4 or 5 months to really see that impact. So going to continue looking at those things as they move forward. So we'll continue to monitor how things go, but we'll watch May, June, July to see if there are any major changes to the Bank of Japan stance. And we'll continue to watch Donald Trump and the things that he says and how it impacts the market overall. So yeah, so that's a full update on Japan. Um, then we have the Euro area. Wages in the Eurozone rose by four. Question?
Hey, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Hey, definitely a slight change in tone, though, right? With the BOJ.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and so it was a softer tone, um, but he still he never took it off the table regarding future increases.
Right. That's true.
So the market participants that I've been just reading through some of the reactions, um, they they still took it either neutral or still slightly hawkish. It's interesting because his words didn't say that,
Right.
um, but in you and I think they're trying to read between the lines more than what's there. So it's interesting, but yeah, like I said, there were some that came forward and their projections moved up to May, and I'm trying to figure out where it came from, but yeah, some of them took it still on the hawkish side, even because he didn't say that they would not increase rates further.
Correct. So they were looking for him to totally back off. But
Yeah.
yeah, when I hear the caution from the Bank of Japan, that means forever. Off the like off the times, like when they say caution, man, they really mean caution. So that's how I took it when I was reading it. Like, man, we may see some currencies make a run against the yen, at least in the short term.
Yeah,
Uh, as a
that's how I took
result,
it too.
yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's how I took it too. And you saw the market initially take a push down and the yen strengthened, but as he talked, it basically recovered everything that it initially took back. So it ended up being more of a neutral response from a technical perspective as well. So we'll see, man. I'm with you though. I definitely took it as going through it all more of a dovish stance.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see I'll keep an eye on that UJ when the markets open. See what the
Yeah,
reaction is going to be.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
appreciate it.
No doubt. Wages in the Eurozone rose by 4.1% year on year in Q4, the least so far compared to a downwardly revised 4.3% in Q3, right? Um, so wages are, mm, we'll continue to watch them, right, around the globe and see how the impact of tariffs and things like that impact um, some of these data points, right? So just a note there out of the Eurozone. Um, European stocks in Europe declined on Wednesday with the stocks 500 falling 0.4% and 600 down 0.3%, snapping a three-session winning streak. Investor weighs Germany's historic constitution amendment vote. Developments on a potential ceasefire in Ukraine and ongoing tariff concerns and key monetary policy updates. Uh, and Bandestag approved an expected amendment to the debt brake, and that's in Germany, which will allow increase in fiscal spending and infrastructure and defense. Right, we discussed that. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin agreed to a limited ceasefire, halting attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, but has so far resisted committing a full 30-day ceasefire, right? So the interesting part about this development is he agreed to not attack the infrastructure, but at the same time, there were airstrikes in other areas while this conversation was happening, right? So he's resisting committing to a full ceasefire. They talked about setting up a hockey game between Russian players and US players. Um, yeah, and so he kind of turned the conversation, but he told Donald Trump that the US can get played in this situation. He tried to play it off like the media tried to play it off like he was talking about the hockey game, but he was telling Donald Trump that you can get played in this situation. So we'll continue to watch the developments on conversations with Vladimir Putin as well. So that's there.
Get played.
Huh?
I said get played. He already getting played.
Man, listen, he is. He don't realize it. He is, and he don't realize it.
Yeah,
That's a wild situation there, man.
it is.
Wild situation. But he's definitely getting played. But he told him straight up. And they kept the conversation going. So and he don't even realize what's going on right in front of his face. People just playing in the face, man. Um, over to the calendar, we got all eyes right here on the federal funds rate and the FOMC statement and press conference, right? That's where everybody's watching, looking to see what the US is going to do and what the projections are going to be going forward, right? So we'll keep our eyes peeled there come 2 o'clock and see where things go. All right. So that's where we are from a fundamental perspective. Any questions or anything additional to add? Or Benny, if you have anything else top of mind, bro.
Oh no, nothing, man. You got it. You got it covered.
Cool beans. Questions from the team? No? All right. Cool beans. Over to the charts. I'll come back to oil, but the dollar, right? Still sitting in that low range. Got a slight push deeper, right? Tapping that 118 area, starting to turn over a bit, but we're still overall just range bound, sliding to the side, waiting on this decision today, right? So not a ton of market movement. We'll take a look at those yens, but not a ton going on because eyes are focused on the FOMC statement, right? And waiting to see what happens there and what Jerome Powell has to say. So we got a lot of consolidation happening, just some back and forth movement as those things develop. So we'll continue moving. I want to come over and take a look at this dollar yen, right? We'll take a look at it after the market opens as well. But you see, right, dollar pushing to the upside here against the yen. Okay, we talked about it yesterday. We got this cloud break, beautiful, slight pullback, and then last night, right, here's that indecision as that press conference was going on. So got a lot of just back and forth here, range bound wise, waiting to see uh, what the Fed has to say, right? And that'll continue to drive decisions and actions, but starting to push to the upside here out of that 118 and 127 zone after that cloud break. So looking for this one to continue moving to the upside. Like I mentioned yesterday, we could still get some deeper pullbacks that come, which I thought that was going to come with the Bank of Japan statement, but we just got a bunch of indecision. Okay. So looking at this one continue to move long, we'll see what the Federal Reserve has to say, right? Didn't break that 236 level, and we're pushing to the upside into that 118 and 127 zone. Okay. So that's the dollar yen. Over to net gas really quickly. Getting a cloud break there on the one. Let's come back to this daily. We talked about previously, it was last Thursday, Benny broke down this one and was looking at where price was, and we said that was looking at price coming back to this 390 area, right? And we got there and we just kind of stalled and moved sideways, and now we're getting another pushback to the upside. We got the stochastic back down into the buy zone here, right? So swing low has formed. This is our low, right? 2 candles to the right. And now we're starting to push to the upside here. Okay. So as we come down to the 4, I'll run these fibs again off this low. And working on continuing that trek to the upside, right? So we're trying to, if we can break this 4-hour resistance here, trying to make this move back to the upside. And we'll look to see if we're able to get a cloud break and some continuation there. But really looking to see if we can get net gas moving back to the upside, even though we have some seasonality effects coming into play. Weather this week is gonna be a little cooler for the remainder of the week. So at least here in Michigan. So we'll see how things go and see if we're able to get some traction to the upside here on that gas. As we come down to the 1, that's where we sit, right? It's still range bound at the 786 level. Ultimately looking for price to break that B boundary at 492 and continue that move to the upside. So we're getting a cloud break now, right? But as you see, the cloud's kind of been moving sideways and you see it pushing through the middle of price. But the question is, do we get the Kumo twist? We already got the lagging span above, and can we break above this level here? Can we break above this level here at 421? Okay. Break above that level. That'll give me some additional confidence that we're ready to move to the upside. So that's what I'm looking for on that gas, but overall still bullish over the long term here. Just playing the waves back and forth here, right? And allowing the market to do what it does. Questions on that gas?
Nope.
Cool deal. Oil, right? Seeing the push to the downside as these conversations with Vladimir Putin and ceasefire, potential opening up of supply channels from Russia and others. You see the market push down to this 8.6 level on the sub fib, and we're turning back over, right? So cast it back down into that buy zone. Okay. So then take out these sub fibs to the upside here on the 4. And we'll see if we're able to get some traction to the upside. See if we're able to get some traction to the upside on oil, right? But we did break back below the cloud, even though the cloud is still bullish right now. So looking at movement to continue. Looking at movement to continue there. Okay. Down to the 1, right? We took out the A on that move down. We were looking at that move yesterday. We took out the A, so it flipped that fib there, and there's your 80-20. Okay. There's your 80-20, and we're getting that push back to the upside. So let's see if we're able to get some traction here and see how deep that move goes before we get future developments. All right, so moving back to the upside, 80-20 on the 1 hour on oil. Questions?
Nope.
Cool deal.
I'm just ready for him to figure out something in this tariff game.
Man, listen, dude.
It's
Me too.
Yeah, you're starting to hear a lot of, your major market participants. They're barking about it. Something will break soon, but they're it's starting to weigh on a lot of investors. They're getting frustrated. At least here in the States. Not sure what the global picture is as far as market participants, but they're getting frustrated. They're starting to voice it too. So
Yeah.
looking for
Yeah.
something to break here soon. But it's not. I don't think it's sustainable. It's weighing too much on the markets right now.
Dude, it's wild. It's wild. It's definitely keeping everybody handcuffed, man. So you mentioned this a while ago, just with those tax cuts. We'll see if he's able to push those things through to help kind of change the the tone there. But yeah, something has to happen, man. Something has to happen. And we'll see.
Yeah.
And really it based on right now, some of those tariffs being implemented in April, um, and then some of the retaliation coming in April as well. Um, it really could get drawn out a little bit because of those things.
Yep. Yep. It's like I said, you really had to pick your spots, but it's like I said, it's frustrating a lot of people. It was a little quiet at first, but now I'm starting to see, day after day, more reports, more articles, more clips of just, big time players. Like it's like what are we doing? Where's this all headed, man? And I'm always a big believer, that, in following the money. And
Yeah,
so something something's got to give, in that area. It's just too much going on, man. Like you see this ceasefire in Israel collapsed. You know,
collapsed.
it collapsed. Like it's just a lot of different variables, and so to have a tariff war in the middle of what was already going on coming into this year is just stupid. I don't know what else to say, how else to say it. Like it's just stupid, especially against some of your allies, you know. So it is, as like I said, I just got a feeling like I'm being super patient with the markets, but something's got to give sooner or later, preferably sooner.
Yeah, man. No, I agree with you, and I think the way you stated is the most eloquent way it can be stated. It's just it's just stupid, man. It's
Yeah,
just stupid.
yeah.
Uh, I agree, dude. I've been sitting tight as well, so it's yeah, it's interesting to watch it all unfold. Um, the the one constant you got is gold. One constant you
In-
got is gold.
Indeed, indeed, right? Which we've been playing that, but it's a mess when you got the bond markets not really knowing which way to react. That's back and forth. So some of the things that you usually, like you say, besides the gold, some of the other commodities like that, like I mean precious metals, like besides that, some of your defensive things that you would put in position during times like this, like they're not even working right now, which is
They're not
why
even
why
moving.
I know people are getting frustrated because it's like, dang, like even the traditional defensive assets, some of them aren't even reacting. It's moving sideways, not reacting like it normally should. So when you don't have any type of you know natural flow to the market, right? Where it's like it's not harmonic, right? Like
Right.
it's not moving in that traditional sequence. It's like it causes a ton of frustration. I know I'm frustrated, even though I know this is the way it was going, like the way it's going to go, and you have to be patient. That doesn't mean that it's not frustrating everybody. So don't,
Facts.
don't you know, yeah. So that's it, man.
Absolute facts. Absolute facts, man. Um, it definitely is frustrating. And you're right, done that right. Take when you get what you can get, don't be greedy. Trade small. Um, and then just be patient, right? Just be patient and allow for things to do whatever it is they're gonna do. And that's the difficult part, right? Just sitting and being patient. Um, but picking your spots wisely is key, as in gold, right? We've been playing this one for a while, and gold is on its way to this D extension here on the daily at 3,055, right? Um, Continues to track to the upside. Okay. Um, that's what I got to say on gold. It's running, right? With all the uncertainty, with all the things going back and forth. And market participants really looking to have some sort of safe haven somewhere. It's dropping in gold, and
Well,
you see what's
one of the
happening.
things that we've been reading about in that book is
Mhm.
that we kind of see like if gold is rising, that means money is taken out of the equities, and it influences, it's like the flow of money from the Forex market to the bond markets to the equities market to, the commodities. So it's kind of interesting
Correct.
to see how when gold is rising, how you look at your equities, when money's coming out of the equities to go into these safe havens. And it's really interesting.
No, it definitely is, right? And you look at just the flow of it, right? So you go from riskier assets to safer assets to riskier assets, depending on the climate, the environment, and and what's happening around the world and levels of certainty. Right? 'Cause that's ultimately what we're seeking is we're seeking certainty. And right now, riskier assets, you can't be certain that they're going to grow because of the climate. So you have to go into your safe haven assets, which you can be a little more certain that those will make some progress for you, right? At least keep you even. And that's what you see, right? And that creates those waves in the market, right? The back and forth, the buying and selling of the different assets around the world. It's a
Right.
beautiful game.
It is. So speaking to that, right? Because we've covered that a lot throughout the years, right? So when you're a trader and your time in the market, that's one thing, right? Let's shift it over to things like gold. But when you're what Ryan and I have started to evolve to as far as just investing and building a portfolio, you already have a percentage, right, of your portfolio allocated to those defensive assets like gold, right? And there's going to be times where that's up. There's going to be times where that position is down. There's going to be times where you increase that position. There's going to be times where you reallocate that position to riskier assets, depending on the economic climate, right? So that's the difference, right? If that makes sense to everybody.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense, everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So we always, from an investing perspective, we always have, a percentage of our portfolio allocated towards gold, allocated towards bonds anyway. It's just a matter of if is that percentage going to increase or decrease, because we always want to build in, right, those defensive type assets when the market goes risk off, when there's high cautions, when that VIX is above the 20. You as a trader, you can use those as confirmations to say, okay, I'm in a position to buy and time the market. But as an investor, you already have some of your positions, right, in those safe haven assets. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. Benny, we should do one of these upcoming Saturdays, we should do a lesson on some of the things that we've been learning from Ray Dalio on
Oh, indeed. I'm looking forward to. Also looking forward to that .net. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Can we be on for that training?
This Saturday.
Next
next
Saturday.
Saturday.
Let me check. I know my son has a morning game and my husband is out of town, so let me.
Okay. Just let us know. Just let us know when you're ready, because I know we've been talking about that for a while. Because I'm highly excited about that.
Okay.
So we got
Sounds
some lessons
good.
for the team, man. Dinette's been putting together some phenomenal things that we're definitely looking forward to her sharing with the group. Um, and uh, and we've been learning some things as well uh, from the great Ray Dalio and his investment strategies and why he does some of the things that he does and how he's been able to build the Bridgewater Capital to the level that he has. So we got some lessons that we're going to be bringing to you guys um, during the
Let's
Saturday
do
ritual.
May what is this? April 5th. because he has a game that weekend, next 2 weekends on Saturday morning. So
April 5th. Noted. Noted. Appreciate it. But we got some things coming, man. We got some things coming that we're excited about. So
Are we putting that in the diary, April 3rd?
April 5th.
Okay.
April 5th. Saturday, April 5th. All right. Cool beans. But yeah, so got some things on the way, man. That you know, as we continue to research and learn from mentors, it helps us bring additional value to you guys, so that we can continue to enhance our positions and our knowledge and our skills to be at the level that we desire to be. Right. So um always learning, always learning, always growing. Right. So but gold headed to the D extension. Okay. Come down to the 4. We'll look at it here. Run the fib off the low here.
that thing has not been pulling back, man.
No. No, no, not at all. The most you get is a 236. You got a 50% here, but it's just been on a tear, man. Just been on a tear. And just when you think you're gonna get one, you got a beautiful 80-20 setting up. You get things that continue to keep us in that safe haven, that risk off environment, right? And you see prices continue to rally to the upside. Continue to rally to the upside. Broke that key level there. So what we may get at some point, look at on the 1 hour time frame, is a pullback to retest that high. Okay. And then I'll be looking for price to continue to rumble to the upside. Right. So this D extension on the 4 hour is a little bit higher than that D extension on the daily at 3,095. Right. So it's headed north. I'm looking, I would love a pullback. So I want to be able to get into this GLD position that I've been waiting patiently on, and haven't had the opportunity to do so. I was late to the game on it, but waiting patiently for a nice retracement that'll give me an opportunity. So we'll see if I get it. Down on the 1, I'll run these to the upside. That got taken out, so we'll start them here. Boom, right? And you see, setting up as an 80-20, continue to rumble to the upside, right? We'll see if we get to that 350 before we get a retracement, okay? But overall, came back below the cloud, broke right back above, continued running, okay? So gold to run into the upside. That's what we got, and that's what it is, and for the foreseeable future, that's what it may be, all right? So that's gold. Questions here?
Nope.
Oh, all right, cool deal. Anybody got a chart that you want me to take a look at? We'll do one more. Apologize for late start. Had some technical difficulties this morning, but
S&P.
S&P. Yeah, let's take a look at the SPX. So what you got here, right? We've been waiting on the retracement. Okay. This fib still hasn't popped in. But anywho, stochastic pushing back up to that sell zone. We got a nice retracement here. Just shy of a 618 retracement, right? And we're starting to turn back over. We'll see what happens as the market has rallied a little bit. We'll see what happens, but ultimately I am looking to see if we get a deeper move here. Okay. But a little bit of a retracement. Stuck right now. We'll see what happens 2 o'clock, right? With that FOMC statement. And then Jerome Powell's press conference. We'll see if that drives the market deeper. Okay. Looking for an 80-20 potentially here on the sub fib. We'll look at it on the 4, but looking for price to dive deeper. This is a zone that I'm watching here. Is price to come into this range. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if I get that, but we'll see what happens with Jerome Powell. And if we drive the markets a little bit deeper, right, heading towards the end of the month of March, the second half of the month of March, and see if we get prices settle in, and then see if things shift come April. Okay, but coming down to the 4, that's the manual fib that I drew in. This is where we are here on the 4. Right, we got a 618 retracement on that pushback to the upside. Right, are we able to come down and make it to that D extension at 53.73? Okay, that's what I'm looking to see if we get. We'll see how it develops and evolves, but that's where I stand right now. As I'm more bearish on the market right now, and I'm continuing to look for lower prices. Right, so I'm just being patient and allowing things to do their thing because of the uncertainty that we've been talking about all morning. Waiting for those things to shake out, right? And so with that, I think we could have another push deeper into the zone there, getting to that D extension at 53.73. So we'll see what happens there, right? But if we get price to turn over, right, we could have a inverted crown pattern here. So if we do get price to turn back over, okay, it's just back of my mind thoughts as the market is evolving, right? If price turns back over, we do have that stochastic in the buy zone, right? Do we get a deeper move into the AB boundary and give us that inverted crown pattern? That's potential as well. But we'll be patient until 2:30 and see what happens. Okay. So we'll watch that and see if that evolves as well, that inverted crown pattern there. Okay, just keep that in the back of our minds as a potential opportunity.
I was thinking last FOMC, market dropped for 3-4 days straight.
Mm,
Do we get
okay.
the buy up for the 3 days up? I don't know.
Let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Down on the 1, that's where you are. 618 retracement, and we're just range bound right now. Right, you see the cloud also pressing sideways. So we shall see. We shall see, right? In a holding pattern right now. In a holding pattern right now. So not a ton back and forth, just as the market has been doing. So we'll see what happens at 2:30. Questions on the S&P 500? No. Questions on anything that we covered this morning? No. Benny, final thoughts before we wrap it up, bro?
Hey man, we know the mission. Stay patient.
That's the mission. That's the mission.
Stay patient. Like Donette mentioned, right? She hit the nail right on the head. When you pick your spots, trade small.
Bingo. Bingo. All right, good people. We will be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Until then, you guys have a phenomenal Wednesday. Peace.